Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Jeannie with All Things Party. Today's video is going to be a quick video on the top 10 things you'll need to get started in baking. The idea came about, I have a friend who called me a few weeks ago and she was asking what are the most important things that she needs to get started in baking. So these are just your, like I said, top 10 in no particular order. There's a lot more material that it's eventually needed, but these will definitely get you started in the right direction. So I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you so much. Hi, Alex. So I know we spoke a few weeks ago and I owed you a list of items that you would need to start baking. So today I decided, you know what, instead of a list, I wanted to actually show you the products so that you can get an idea of how to get started with baking. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is obviously the pans. These are 8x3 pans, two brands that I have, Fat Daddios and PME. Fat Daddios are a little bit more hardy, but I've had the PMEs as well for 2 years. I've used them, no problem at all. As long as you just take care of them and wash them right away, they both last, okay? Second thing that I want to talk about, which it's kind of controversial, some bakers use, some don't, are the cake strips. I got these right away when I started baking and I love them. I'm used to using them every time I bake. And these are cake strips. You put them in water before you prepare your pan, and then you kind of tie it around the pan, and as such. And what this does, it prevents the cake from, first of all, baking too fast, and from getting that crust around the pan. They just come out nicer looking, even, a nice brown color. So I've been using these. Some people don't. I like them, been using them forever. I believe this is the Wilton brand, but you can put cake strips probably amzn.to and find them. Second thing would be the measuring the scale. When you start baking, you'll see that a lot of ingredients, our recipes, will be in grams, and it's actually better. You'll get a much better result if you use grams instead of ounces, okay? So this I've had for years. It's a couple of, I don't know, probably no more than $5 years ago, okay? And this is what I used to weigh all my ingredients when it comes to the butter, flour, etc. Okay, what else do I have? Okay, along with that, there are the measuring spoons. So I don't really use the measuring cups because I use the scale, but I do use the measuring spoons for the vanilla, salt, baking powder, baking powder, baking flour, okay? So those are that. The other thing that I use a lot is the sifter. And once I have plenty of the regular sifters that you just shake around, but to me it's messy. I kind of like this one with the handle because once you start baking, you'll see you'll be sifting flour all the time, and this is just so much quicker. I don't recall where I got this, but I'm sure these are common, okay? So that's the sifter. The next thing is that you are gonna need a hand mixer. This I've had for years. I think I've had even from when I moved from Boston. I actually, when I started baking, invested in a KitchenAid, and I love my KitchenAid. That's actually the one I use now all the time. This I use more for the fillings, maybe to do buttercream on the side, more as an aid to the KitchenAid. But you're gonna need to start out some type of mixer, whether it's this one or a KitchenAid, okay? Next thing, Alex, that I recommend are the cake release pans. And this one's called Baker's Joy. I really prefer this one. This one I recently saw at Target. It's called Pan Baking with Flour. It works just as well. And obviously this I use to prepare my pans. You spray the pans so that the cakes will release easily once you're done baking. It's important to me. I've tried the Goop. And we can talk about that later, but I just prefer the cake release pan. It's quicker and easier. All right, where are we now? Cake smoother. This, it's a cake smoother, And you'll probably just need one to start off. And this is what you'll need to smooth the buttercream on the cake. You'll need something like this where you can handle in this manner to smooth the sides of your cake. So this is a must. I've had this forever because I think this is actually a pizza scraper. And I bought others, but I seem to come back to this one. I like that. Cake cutter. This here is by Wilton. And this, when I bake my cakes, the main recipe that I make is, I don't remember the grams, but I fill these almost 2/3 of the way up. And then when they're done, I cut them in two. So it actually ends up being a 4-inch cake. And the way I cut the two to make sure that they're even is I use a cake cutter. I've tried many. This just seems to have the right amount of tension in the cord, and it's Wilton. I got this one, I believe, at Michael's, probably $9–10. The turntable is next. Okay, so this, when your cake is done and you need to decorate it, this would be, the little thing came off, what you would use to put your cake on. I have since bought a couple of other turntables, one metal one Wilton, but honestly, I keep coming back to this one. Sometimes the simpler ones are the best ones. It turns easy. You gotta make sure that it turns smoothly because when you're using your cake smoother, you're gonna have to smooth with one hand and turn the turntable with the other. So you kind of just wanna make sure that it's smooth. This one, oh gosh, I probably got, it's really inexpensive. It's probably $11, $12. It was either Wilton at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. So I end up getting a lot of my materials at those two places, except for ingredients. Ingredients I get at other stores, and we can talk about that later. And then lastly, we're going to talk about, well, actually, one more and then two bonuses. Spatulas. You're gonna need tons of this. When I first started baking, I had two, and I was like, oh, that should be enough, no problem. I probably have, I don't know, I have probably like 4 of this big size and probably 4 of this size. I love that they're colorful. I got these at Michael's a while back. I've had them for 1.5 years. They're hardy. I throw them in the dishwasher and they've lasted me. You will need a few, at least 2. When I started, I thought 2 would be enough. Now when I'm making an order, a cake order, I probably go through like all 8 of them. Between the buttercream and mixing the cake and all that, you'll need a few of these. Then there's 2 bonus items. When you start baking, if it's for your house, for family, I guess it really doesn't matter, but I have a pet peeve with hair getting everywhere, so I make sure my hair is tied back and a ponytail, and I have hair nets, and these you can use multiple times. I get them at the dollar store or Target, and they're really good at keeping your hair in. Okay, so that for me is a must. And another thing is I have an apron. I've had this forever. This is Chef Jeannie. I wash them when I'm done. This is like polyester material. I've had this again for like 2 years. And what I do is I have a lint roller. So before I put the apron on, I go ahead and do the lint roller on my shirt, put the apron, do the lint roller again, just to make sure I don't have any lint or hair that could potentially fall on the cake or the batter or whatever I'm making. Lastly, I know it seems like a lot, but lastly, I would say an oven thermometer. And the reason is that when I started, and I still do my cakes in a regular oven, okay? I don't have a conventional oven, I don't have a commercial oven. When I started baking, my cakes were just off a little. I couldn't explain why. And then I saw a post, a YouTube video, and they were talking about the importance of the temperature. And then so I bought this from Amazon, and I realized that there was a difference in what my oven was saying. Let's say I would preheat it at 350 versus what the actual thermometer was saying. I would sometimes be 15 degrees off, which is a big difference when you're baking, because that'll be another video, but baking is an exact science. When you get started, you kind of need to follow that recipe to the T. So anyway, Alex, I hope you liked the video, and we still have to get together for that baking party. And these are just some of the things to get you started. I will jot down, I guess, all the brands for you. But like I said, most of it you can find at Michael's, either Amazon or Hobby Lobby. Those are my main places for tools. For ingredients, there's a couple of local places, but we can talk about that later. So anyway, I hope this is helpful, and call me if you have any questions. Bye, Alex.